Hey YouTube. So it's been a while since I've done anything with my costume. It's been sitting in my basement collecting dust, and I kind of want to get started on it again. Hopefully I'll get it finished all the way. My last video, I was showing how I kind of had unexpected results with how I tried to harden this. I mean, the shape looks good. It's a little on the heavy side, and I could have done a better job, but the big problem that I've been finding is the multiple layers of glue. They don't harden to a rigid surface. They're a bit tacky. Well, not even tacky. It's not tacky to the touch, but they're a bit soft. So I can easily put a dent in it with my fingernail. And when I'm sanding it, you can see here it's kind of peeled off, and there's another spot down here where it's peeled off. Because if I use the power sander, I think it goes too fast and it heats things up, and then the glue starts to kind of get melty, then it sticks to the sandpaper, and either way, mistakes were made. What I'm thinking of doing now, though, is maybe putting a layer or two of paper mache over it, because I think the paper mixed with the glue will give it a bit more of a rigid surface and maybe, hopefully, work out better. I haven't really tried this yet, so you guys get to come along with me as I make another attempt at this hardening process. Obviously, using the plastic resin would probably still be the best. I'm happiest with the pieces that I've got. For example, my pride and joy. The helmet here, it's like a nice smooth surface. It's rigid. Only problem is it's a pain to use, and I don't like that. I keep hoping to find an easier way. Maybe there isn't. Maybe I'll find out that paper mache is also a bad idea. Anyways, so to start with, I've got some newsprint. Just saved it from the recycling bin. And I did some brief research about how one is supposed to paper mache. So I should be able to rip this stuff into strips. They say you can do several pages at once, and I have several pages. So let's see, there's supposed to be a grain, so one way it's supposed to rip... Oh, okay, so that's not the way it's supposed to rip. One way they say it should rip in a straight line, and the other way they say it should rip like it did there, like crooked. So let's try... Oh yeah, okay, so that works out. Who knows, maybe this will be some ASMR for some people. If it wasn't for my horrible voice speaking over things. They say you should do 1-inch strips. I don't know, I'm just kind of guessing. Apparently one should also tear it, not cut it, because tearing it gives a better edge for blending in. Again, well, that kind of got narrow. Again, I have not paper machéed since I was in grade school, and that was a while ago. And of course now that one's kind of thick. Oh well. We're experimenting. We'll see what happens. Kind of thought I'm going to end up needing more newsprint, but this is already seeming like a lot. Who knows though? We'll find out in a few minutes. Can I rip this into 3? Let's find out. This is going awry. Oh well, good enough. And I don't want the strips quite that long, so I will rip them in half. I'm not strong enough to do them all at once. Or some of them at once. I don't know how those people rip phone books in half. Phone books still exist. Okay. So I've got my strips. Next, I'm going to use a mixture of glue and water. I am using, Weldbond. Apparently, it can be used to bond and harden concrete, so maybe it'll work with this. It's water soluble, so that shouldn't be a problem. I was reading that one is supposed to do half and half, like half glue, half water. We'll see what happens. I'm just going to put like a glop of glue. I'm hoping that that is enough. If I were smart, and maybe I'll be smart, I'll just do a test sample. So since I'm not measuring this, I'm just going to eyeball it. And probably should have used a deeper container, so because the water is not quite what I want it to be. So I feel like I've used way more water than I've used glue. So I'll put some more glue. My goal is to not accidentally run out of all this glue and then be left with nothing, because Weldbond is some nice glue for other projects like woodworking and stuff like that. It's white now, but it dries clear, and on its own it seems to dry to a pretty rigid surface, but I mean, I thought the same of this until I actually had it on a costume piece. Also spilling it everywhere, but it's okay, that's what a worktop's for. Some more ASMR noises. Well, it's very watery. I don't know if that's how it's supposed to be or not. It seems to be mostly mixed together though. So I guess the only way to find out is to actually give it a try. Just put the excess newsprint out of the way. Here is the sample piece. I don't know if there's any technique to this. I'm just going to kind of try and get it wet with the solution, and then hopefully, again, I'm also not sure which way I should be doing this. Just stick it on like that. So far so good, maybe? I guess I won't really know until it dries and I see what kind of surface it's coming up with. I guess as I get more pieces on there, it should become easier because there's going to be existing glue water solution. You know, I think honestly the last time I did this, I was in like grade 6. We were supposed to make masks, and I didn't want to make a mask, so we had balloons and we were supposed to fill them up and then paper mache them. And I ended up just making a solid, really thick circle. You're supposed to cut it in half for your mask, but I just made like a complete sphere and then added like little paper spikes to it to make like a morning star. So I guess you could say cosplay has always been like a thing. I've always liked making prop things. Still wondering if I should be using more glue. It's like it's soaking up nice and it's sticking on nice. I mean, you can maybe see. No, you can't really see. Let me move things a little bit closer. Don't really need to watch me dipping that in repeatedly. You're probably more interested in what's going on here. Maybe one day I'll get a better camera, but I'm not super concerned about it. I'm glad that it seems to be contouring itself pretty well. Like I was worried it was going to want to be bumpy and stuff, but it seems to really flatten down. If I was smart, I would have brought some paper towel down here, but nobody ever said I was smart. That piece wasn't ripped. I feel like since I've made this mixture, I'm kind of committed to like try and use most of it up. I don't want to waste any of my glue. See, actually even doing the corner pieces like pretty well too. So that's nice. I'm sure there's people that actually know more about paper mache and they're like, of course it's doing that. What did you expect? So what if I try this? Well, that actually worked out okay too. It's not quite sticking there where I want it. But that's okay. I do intend to put like 1 or 2 layers, maybe 2 or 3 layers. Playing it by ear, by feel, we'll see what happens. Now, I'm sure you don't want to hear me blather on for however long this is going to frickin' take. Unless there's some like vaguely therapeutic thing about it. So I might just do a fast forward. I might just do a jump cut. We will see what happens. If anything exciting happens, naturally I will show you guys, but for the moment, this is pretty tedious, I think. It's tedious to do. Maybe it's not tedious to watch. Maybe it's riveting entertainment. I have my doubts. Because yeah, it seems like this is going to take a while. Not quite like it is with the resin, where you can just kind of get going right away. 5 minutes, it's all on, and 10 minutes later it's all hardened. But that's kind of what I didn't like about it, was the sense of urgency, where you do it and you have to do it within the working time, or else you're out of luck. I'm still liking this so far. Again, I don't know if I've got the glue mixture quite right. Maybe I'll find out that I didn't do it well enough. But then I'll always have the option of just doing a more glue-heavy coat over top. Because it seems to be sticking, and I know that there's glue soaked in there because obviously this is very gluey. I'm not sure if I should be alternating the way that I'm doing layers either, like some this way and some across. If I think about it, and since obviously the newsprint does have a grain, it's probably what I should be doing. So maybe I'll kind of do like a lattice work, and then maybe basically try and get some strips going every which way so that like grain structure isn't all in one way and then has some sort of a weakness. And making a bit of a mess too. I'm also thinking that here is going to end up getting a lot thicker because I seem to be ending a lot of pieces there, or overlapping a lot of pieces. But I guess I can try and not do that. Oh, that's not working. Let's try. It needs like a minimum amount to kind of stick. I just had like a couple millimeters sticking out and it was like, nope, I can support myself. I don't need to flop down. So I will tell you what, it's difficult to concentrate on this, and try and talk entertainingly. So why don't I do a jump cut and show you what this looks like after I've gotten a bit more progress done. If I'm lucky, I'll even have a clean enough hand to turn off the recording for a few minutes.